Oh, and another goal for Super Eagles.
This is Premier Sports Center. Believe it anywhere, take it anywhere. Don't forget to subscribe. Remember to hit that subscription button.
Hello, welcome to Talk Sports, your home for all things football, where passion meets analysis and banter is always on the menu. I'm your host at DME Shegu, and today we've got a cracker for you. The English Premier League 2025-26 season is here. We're breaking down the biggest opening fixtures, the hottest transfer news, and the key storyline that could define the season. Joining me in the studio, our resident football brains. I'm talking about Jimmy, who has been away for a long time. It's a pleasure having you back in the studio, Jimmy.
Yeah, I'm buzzing to be back and, more excited about the new season ahead.
Okay, and also we have Apollo, who is donning the evergreen Arsenal jersey tonight. I know he has a lot of promises for his club this season. It's always a pleasure having you in the studio, Apollo.
Yeah, thanks for having me. So excited that the APL is back again. It's been like forever, but thank God it's back now.
Yeah, we're all happy having the EPL back, so let's get ready because we're diving straight into Chelsea versus Crystal Palace and the Manchester United versus Arsenal game. So let's kick off from Talk Sports on tonight. And don't forget you can be a part of this conversation by going straight into our comment section. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel, Premier Sports Fan Center. And straight to Chelsea. Chelsea's defensive plan have been shaken by Levi Colwill's ACL injury, sidelining him for up to 9 months. Maresca faces a tough call, promote from within or push the ball for a signing. Internal names like Chaloba, Badashil, and Disasi could step up, but there's a real question about quality and depth. I'll be coming straight to you, Jimmy. Should Chelsea trust their current defensive options or invest in an immediate high-profile replacement?
I think they need to, invest in a high-profile replacement because if you look at the kind of player Levi Colwill is for Chelsea, he's a crucial player. He's important to the spine of the team. You look at the centre-back position. I think he played 64 games last season. It was, for me, in my opinion, the most important defender for us. You had Chalobah next to him and Tosin next to him, but I feel like Levi Colwill is the number one centre-back on the team sheet. So risking a solution internally, like looking for maybe an academy player or someone else to play his position, I think can be risky because you have players like Badiashile and Wesley Fofana.
Badiashile is out injured.
Yeah, who are not reliable due to their injury record. So I feel like having that, going out to look for a replacement, a high-profile replacement, as that Maresca has even said it himself in the press conference ahead of the Chelsea game, that he needs a new centre-back to replace Levi Colwill.
Okay, yes, I can hear that from Jimmy, that Chelsea needs a new centre-back to replace Levi Colwill, who has been ruled out for 9 months with ACL after doing his ACL, and that is a big, that's a big worry for Chelsea. But there's also Renato Vega, who Chelsea were trying to sell. Paulo, do you think Chelsea should install Renato Vega back into the team? We saw it happen with Trevor Chalobah, when Chelsea wanted to sell him. At a point they had to loan him out to Crystal Palace, but they had to recall him, and he went on to be one of the mainstream defender for Chelsea. Do you think Renato Vega can also bring something like that into this Chelsea team?
Well, I don't think so, because I think Renato Vega's days at Chelsea are already numbered, and I don't believe Chelsea should bring in any player. They should make use of what they got available until what's his name is back. And you talk about players absent also, Badiashile and I think Wesley Fofana. I'm not sure if he's fit, but I don't think those ones are long time absent. Probably they will come back, because if you decide to bring
Fofana is actually back.
Well, it's Fofana. If Fofana is back, then that should be another good news and for Chelsea, because if you bring in another high-profile defender, it might affect Levi Colwill, and I think. Looking at Levi Colwill, the Chelsea team is actually Chelsea defense is built on him. So if you bring on someone that will come and displace him now, then you are starting the project fresh. But for Renato Vega, I don't see him remaining with Chelsea come at the end of the transfer window. I think his days are numbered.
Okay, he believes Renato Vega's days are numbered at Chelsea. Doesn't see him as a replacement for Levi Colwill. Jimmy, yes, how much will Colwill absence impact Chelsea's early season form and title ambition coming into this season?
I think it's going to impact Chelsea a lot. It's a massive, massive blow for them. I feel like, the kind of character Cole is building, is one of the leaders of the back line of Chelsea. So I think they would definitely concede more goals without Levi Cole, because you look at the other players like Chaloba, Tosin, they might not be as maybe athletic or fast as Cole, and solid defensively. So I feel like it's going to really, really dent their, title push if they are going to be in a title race.
Yes, it's going to be match day 1 out of 38 when Chelsea face off against the Crystal Palace on Sunday. And talking about Crystal Palace, there's a player there, their captain, with Gui entering the final year of his Palace contract. Chelsea sees a chance to bring back a former academy product. Palace may cash in, but would sell into a rival, weaken their momentum. Would Gui be the perfect fit to stabilize Chelsea defense, or is this just another short-term fix? Talking about a player from the Chelsea youth team, they didn't believe in him, so they let him go straight to Crystal Palace, where he has led them to 2 trophies already, the FA Cup and also the Community Shield just last weekend. Do you see he's also, standing on not signing a new deal with Crystal Palace? Do you think Chelsea should be going in for Mark Gui right now?
Maguire, you've seen him in the last 2-3 seasons. A very fantastic defender and has been linked with almost all the top clubs in the English Premier League. Recently, he has been linked with Liverpool also, and for Maguire refusing to sign, extend his contract with Crystal Palace, it shows that he really wants to leave. I could remember last season, the transfer window, that was the summer transfer window last season. Newcastle brought about 50 to 60 million pounds, and it was rejected. But I don't know what Crystal Palace was thinking there. But if you look at Crystal Palace, you understand the reason why they rejected that, money, and he helped them to win the FA Cup and the Community Shield. If they had lost them, I don't think they would have been able, to win, because they also lose one of their best defenders. Talking about Joachim Anderson, so they can't afford to lose Maguire. But talking about Chelsea now, if Chelsea can bring him back, it will be a very fantastic addition to the Chelsea backline. If he comes to Chelsea, that would be his second coming. It will be a very good one for Chelsea. But at the moment, Liverpool is also calling him. I'm not sure if he'll be coming to Chelsea rather than going to Liverpool. But if Chelsea are able to get him, I think it will be a very fantastic signing.
You can always say that about Maguire. He's always a quality centre back for any team, be it England or be it his club. And the age is there, the experience is there for the young England international. Jimmy, should Crystal Palace risk losing one of their leaders to a London rival, even for a big fee?
I wouldn't say they are rivals. Obviously, they are London teams, so you can call them rival. But I think they should, because it looks like he's adamant on not signing a new contract, which means they risk losing him for free. So if anything, they should be looking to rebuild around him, get a good fee, a good money out of him, use the money to look for how you can get a replacement. So yeah, I think they should.
Okay, still staying out of London at the Stamford Bridge. Chelsea begin with a London derby against Crystal Palace on August 17th. That's a Sunday. The first few fixtures keep them in the capital before facing tougher away trips. An early chance to bank a point with a London every starts with a London every starts help Chelsea settle quickly. Despite the defensive crisis they have right now. Talking about the Chelsea Crystal Palace game on Sunday.
Yeah, Chelsea are having about 3 or 4 London derby in their first.
Even the next game is West Ham.
Yeah, I think their first 5 matches are about London derby, if I'm correct. And it's not always easy when you are playing a London derby. And we know that if you look at the number of teams in England, they 1 to 20. I think there are about 7 London teams there. And when they want to play each other, like it's always they take it more serious than when they play teams outside London. But for Chelsea, going into that match, home advantage, and Chelsea are reaching form at the moment. Everything is going well at the moment. And for Crystal Palace, I think the same, because if you look at Crystal Palace in the last 2 months, they're a team on the rise. But everything indicates that Chelsea might likely take the 3 point. But it's the opening game of the season. You don't know what to expect really.
Okay, though you're sporting a Galatasaray jersey tonight, but very sure you're a Chelsea fan. Going into that game, what is your own preview of that match between Chelsea and Crystal Palace? Do you think Chelsea are going to get a straight win? We saw Crystal Palace, came back from a 2-0 deficit against Liverpool to push that game into penalty.
They came back to 1-0.
1-0 to 1-1 and 2-1
Okay.
to 2-2. And before pushing that game into penalties and winning the Community Shield, which is a good one for them, and they're coming straight into that derby against Chelsea in a big momentum. What is your preview of the game? Do you see Chelsea taking maximum 3 points in that game, or will it be a shared spoil? Or against a lot, Crystal Palace getting a victory at Stamford Bridge on match day 1?
No, I don't think that would be the case. Massive mental boost for them, going toe to toe with Liverpool and defeating them, to give them this sense of we can go against the big boys, you can do it against the big teams. But I feel like at the end of the day, Chelsea will just have more quality, and at the end of the day, the quality will tell, because Crystal Palace, yes, they've been good, but Chelsea have a very, very good record against them. If you look at Chelsea, Crystal Palace, I think Chelsea are the teams to have the most wins against Crystal Palace in the league. So with the record on their side and the home on their side, home advantage on their side, I think Chelsea will come out victorious.
Okay, as we expect Chelsea to come out victorious against Crystal Palace. And on a side note, is the start of the EPL 2025-2026 season, and it's Liverpool against against Bournemouth, sorry, who has kick-started the league. So 2025-2026 season is alive already. So you can join us on Premier Sports Fan Center on Sunday for the two matches that we have for you: the Chelsea against Crystal Palace game and the big one between Manchester United and Arsenal. So back to our discussion. Paulo, can early momentum define Chelsea's title credential before the big clashes arrive?
Well, I think at the moment, for all teams, not only Chelsea, you need to start very early. But starting very early is one thing, but maintaining momentum or sustaining momentum is another thing. Can Chelsea be able to, keep? Because we saw Liverpool last season; they started very well, and I think about the last 10 matches before they started, dropping some few points, and then it was already too late for other teams. But for Chelsea, if they are to make any real meaningful impact or challenging for the league, they need to start very early, gather all the old points before you start meeting the big boys. Because one thing we've seen with Chelsea in the last 2-3 seasons is that when it comes to the the traditional top six, they've been finding it very difficult in beating them. So they can take advantage of this the middle ones, the lower ones. If you can gather all those points before you meet your big boys, then even though it's a draw, it will be better. So I think early momentum will be good for Chelsea.
Okay, so let's believe that early momentum will come to help Chelsea on their pursuit to win the EPL 2025-2026 season. Anything can happen. I think yes, Chelsea are in a big they're in for it this season. They're a big contender for the EPL title. Okay, straight to Crystal Palace. Palace who stunned Liverpool in the Community Shield after winning their first FA Cup last season. Glasnow's upside enters the league with belief and pedigree. Crystal Palace carry their trophy-winning form into a sustained league challenge.
I think realistically, Crystal Palace, they are in a bit of a honeymoon period right now. Just won 2 trophies. For a mid-table side, that's not really, the usual case. So I think their fans should be happy with what they've done. And realistically, they should look at finishing in the top 10. Just above mid-table, I think will be a successful season.
Okay, they'll be playing. Talking about Crystal Palace, they'll be playing the Conference League come next season. Yes, that is a competition. Chelsea are actually the defending champions. Do you see Crystal Palace, also going for that to win their own? We've seen West Ham won that trophy before, and now we have Chelsea. It's looking like it's a London affairs when it comes to the Conference League, when it comes to the EPL. Do you think Crystal Palace can also walk the road to win that trophy?
Yeah, of course. Because if you look at last season, Chelsea won it, and you look at the quality of teams in that competition last season. I don't think even if Crystal Palace were to be in that competition last season, I think they would have met Chelsea in the final or probably go ahead and win. Because you look at the kind of teams that Chelsea played, I don't think there's anyone that would have stopped Crystal Palace. I don't think so, because Real Betis run out of steam after just 45 minutes. They only played 45 minutes, and the second half was they were nowhere to be found. So for Crystal Palace, it will be an advantage for them if they can even go ahead and win it. And like he said, they are, they've won 2 trophies in the space of yeah, 3 months now, and I could remember to Crystal Palace, they've not won anything before the first trophy, at least for in the last 100 years, and it will be a morale booster. But one thing I'm worried about Crystal Palace is that they've not really strengthened, because if you look at the squad, it's still the same player, so they need to.
And there's also possibilities of the likes of AZ still
leaving,
leaving the club.
even Maguire, we were talking about that, and
two
so
important players to the team.
Yeah, and now they have European, matches to. Play. So they need to bring in more players, because there's no how they will go the whole season without injury also. So in fact, they have some players out injured now. Talking about the likes of Eddie Nketiah and Co. They are out injured, so they need to bring in players if they are to win. If they want to win the Conference League.
Yes, that doesn't need to bring in players at Crystal Palace. Okay, away from that, how big a psychological boost is it for Crystal Palace to have already beaten the top side like Liverpool this season? Can they build on that momentum?
Massive, of course. Very, very, very good. Boost for them mentally. Like I said, beating a team like Liverpool, the defending champions, is just going to. You are not going to find a better team than Liverpool in the Premier League. So winning in the way they did, in the final again, in the penalties, is very, very massive for them, and it shows where they are mentally.
Okay, as I'm straight to the big one coming up on Sunday, Manchester United against Arsenal. That game has always been a cracker right from the time. This season begins with a classic rivalry. Arsenal are desperate to finally win the league under Mikel Arteta, visit a United side in transition under Amorim. You're an Arsenal fan. Which team needs to win more? Arsenal for title believer, United for rebuilding confidence?
Well, I think both teams needs it, and Arsenal needs it also, and I think we need it more, because if we win that match, it means that the title race is on instantly. Because if you watch Arsenal last season, it took us about until I think November, December before we started mounting pressure towards Liverpool, and then it was already too late. But Manchester United, they also need it, because last season, they were very, very shambolic, and if they fail to win that match, it means that I think they will continue from where they stopped last season. So they need to win it, and they brought in a lot of players. I was telling a friend this, earlier today, about Manchester United. I think they have the player now. The only problem they will be having now is the manager, if he knows how to use them, because they bring in quality. Look at the kind of players they bring in: Mbeumo, Kunwa, and Benjamin Sesko. They are very, very good players. So it's left for the manager now. So no more excuse. I don't have players now. But if you ask me as an Arsenal fan, I don't want them to, be at their best on that day. I just want them to, just play the way they were playing last season, and let us not gather all the 3 points that day.
So how easy is it going to be for Arsenal going to Old Trafford against Manchester United? This is a rejuvenated Manchester United. You look at how much of quality players they've brought into that side. Mbeumo scoring 20 goals, if I'm not mistaken, in the EPL last season. Kwa also getting good number of goals for Wolverhampton. Benjamin Sesko is a problem in the box against any team. So basically, they've reshaped their attacking front in the going forward into that game. And against which team? Arsenal. That is where you can even test the prowess of those guys. Though two of the players actually failed to fire into the back of the net during the preseason, but coming into the league where they are familiar, do you think they'll find it easier against Arsenal?
No, I don't think they'll find it easier against Arsenal realistically, because Arsenal, one of the toughest teams in the league. I think is a good test for United, to test themselves. They've obviously had a change in attack, which is good for them. Their attack wasn't good enough last season, but having Mbeumo and Konya, one of the players with the most outputs last season, is a huge boost for them in attack. So I think it will be a very interesting game against Arsenal to test them. Especially, I would like to see Sesko on how he plays against the back line of Arsenal. He can really hurt them with that.
Okay, Paulo, could an opening loss derail either side season psychologically?
I think a loss for either team. I don't think that any team that loses, I don't think that one game would determine where both team will end at the end of the season. But it will be a setback for either team, because you look at the league now. The competition is getting tougher now. Lose one match now, you might find yourself far behind. So for both teams, a win will be very good for any team that win, but a lose will be a setback for either of the team. But I don't think that lose will determine where the team end at the end of the season.
Okay, yes, that's the best way to start up match day one, and we're talking about where the tactical battleground will be. Šeško against Gyökeres, Manchester United Benjamin Šeško, and Arsenal Victor Gyökeres. Two strikers both clubs have eyed before, now leads up their line in contrasting systems. Which striker will make the bigger early season impact for their club?
You know, for the club, I think it's difficult to see, but I think Gyökeres, just because of, you know, stats. Some people say stats don't lie. I believe you can't judge everything based on stats, but I think Arsenal are more stable. You know, he has more players that can feed him the ball. He has the like of Odegaard, Kai Havertz, Declan Rice, you know, Bukayo Saka, Zubimendi, who can feed him the ball. I feel like he's going to have more service than a Šeško. And Arsenal, like I said, they have a pattern. They are more stable. They have a system that is working for them. Adding Gyökeres is another dynamic though, but I still believe Gyökeres will do more for Arsenal than Šeško.
Do you also share that?
Well, of course, and if you look at both players, either of those players could have been at the other opposite team, because there was a time Manchester United were going, Arsenal were going. So, but unfortunately, Šeško have settled for Man U, and what's his name, Gyökeres for Arsenal. But even on that day, I'm not sure if Šeško will be starting that game based on what the manager said during the media briefing. You know, we are not sure, but he might start. But Gyökeres will definitely start. And both players will want to, you know, start early, make an early impression. And if you look at both players, they are different type of players. And though Šeško is still very young, I think 21, 22, compared to Gyökeres, who is 27, going to 28. So for Gyökeres, I think he needs to, you know, quickly make impact, because there will not be time for him. You can still make an excuse for Šeško. If you say he's still young, for Gyökeres, there won't be any room for excuse for him. So he needs to start early.
I guess left to say who is going to be making an immediate impact between these two big money strikers signing for both clubs. I'm talking about Gyökeres for Arsenal and also Benjamin Šeško on the side of Manchester United. Sorry, Jimmy, how much will tactical system 4-3 for United, 4-3-3 for Arsenal shape this battle? But I've seen Arteta, you know, shape into 4-2-3-1 formation of recent in the preseason. But looking at the tactical battles, we've seen the 3-4-3, you know, being a big problem for for Amorim since joining Manchester United. But with the new input, do you think they'll be capable of going head-to-head against against Manchester Arsenal? Sorry, tactically.
You know, credit to Amorim, because he you know, stuck with his 3-4-3 formation even when it wasn't working for him. Now he has gotten, you know, players that he feels can fit in his system. So he plays with like 2 10s in behind the striker. He has Mbeumo and Matheus Cunha who can play in behind Šeško, and that attack for me looks, you know, dangerous enough for them to hurt Arsenal. You know, Arsenal also have, you know, like, they are more stable. Like I said, they have an attack that is working for them. But I'm not quite sure about Gyökeres in the mix of Arsenal, because I think Arteta prefers all these kind of silky players that can, you know, play in between the lines, that are more technical. Whereas Gyökeres is not going to have this time and space that he did in the previous league, in the Portuguese league. Coming into the Premier League, it's going to be tough for him to fit into the Arsenal system, I believe. So I think it's going to be an interesting watch.
Oh yes, we're expecting to be an interesting watch on Sunday when Arsenal and Manchester United kick off together right there in the EPL. Lastly, talking about Arsenal, you guys got Noni Madueke from Chelsea. You happen to be a Chelsea fan. Noni Madueke against Martinelli. Who are you going to start against Manchester United?
Well, I think Martinelli will start because he's been with the team, and I don't think they will, Arteta will want to start, you know, 2 new additions at the same time all front. He probably want to start one, which is Victor Gyökeres. And though if he starts Noni Madueke, I won't be too surprised, but I believe Martinelli will definitely start because he has more pace than Madueke. So if he can, you know, run at the defenders, and when they are tired, you can bring on what's his name, Noni Madueke.
Okay, so let's see how that happens. And straight to the transfer window where Arsenal strutting with Gyökeres, Madueke, Kepa, Nogard, and Zubi Mendy. United spent big on Sheshko, Kua, and Mbuemo. Both expect to be major improvements on their side. Did Arsenal do enough in the market to finally dethrone Liverpool this season?
Well, I think we've done, one of the best transfer under Mikel Arteta since he came. I don't think we've signed like this. Bringing on 6 players, not just 6 players, but in the positions that we really need. We strengthened the midfield, the attack, the number 9, which a lot of Arsenal fans have been complaining for, and also bringing on a backup for Bukayo Saka. But as an Arsenal fan, I think we still need more. There are still talks about we going for a Birichi, and if we can get him, I think I will rate our transfer window this season 10/10.
Wow, that's a big one. Manchester United have been spending deliver quick results despite being out of Europe. They'll be playing Europe this come next season.
Yeah, I
Come
think.
this season, sorry.
Yeah, I think that's going to help them. They have a lot of new players, help them gel with the squad. I think Chelsea had that season also where we didn't play in Europe, and if you ask me, I would say it helped us qualify for the Conference League that season, finishing in the top 6. I think that lack of Europe will give their players fresh legs, more time to recover and more time to gel as a team. So I think it's going to be a boost for Manchester United. They do need instant results because last season was not good enough results for Manchester United.
Okay, so last season wasn't really good for Manchester United as they finished I think 15th if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Right there. That was actually a way below average for Manchester United. We hope to see them, fly up again in the EPL. Liverpool remain favourites, but Arsenal widely tipped as top challengers. United are projected to finish outside the top 4 in most analyst predictions. Or will Arsenal break their streak of runner-ups of finishes this season? 3 times runner-up. They'll be looking to finally put themselves right there in the first position. Do you think you guys have what it takes to finally win the EPL this season?
Yeah, I think we have what it takes now, and I believe with the inclusion of Victor Gyökeres, we definitely help us to the finish line. And I could remember the days of as a winger. Arsenal came second 3 times in a row also, and the 4th attempt, we actually got it right. I want to liken that to this season, and at the end of the season, come May, next year we'll be celebrating with the trophy at the Emirates.
You're a Chelsea fan. We're talking about it before coming into the studio. Do you see your Chelsea winning this league this season?
It's possible. I think there's more chance of Chelsea winning the league than Arsenal. I mean, Arsenal are the best team when it comes to coming second. I've been even in this show for a very long time. Ever since I've been here, Arsenal fans have been telling us that they'll win the league. This season is their season. So I think Chelsea are a serious team with a couple of additions. We're world champions, and if we don't win the season, if we don't win the league this season, it's not the end of the world because we have a lot of new players. But I still believe that there's a chance.
Okay, there's also a chance for Chelsea to win the EPL. Talking about Manchester United now, is a top 4 finish a realistic target for United, or should fans expect a longer rebuilding process?
Well, I think Manchester United fans should not have their up too high. They should be aiming for top 4 at the moment now, which I don't see it even possible, because if you look at even the top analysts, including even the supercomputers of this world, they predicted Manchester United to finish somewhere around 12.
And they predicted Arsenal to win the league, right?
They didn't actually predict Arsenal to win, but if you want to look at it the way it is from last season, and I think they were generous to Manchester United from 15 moving to 12 or 8 would be a very good addition. But for Manchester United, their fans should not be aiming too high, but they should just have focus on making top 4 if it's possible. At least get back to Europe. But saying they want to win the league, I think they should just put a full stop to that.
Okay, as I'm straight to Old Trafford, where we still remain with Manchester United. With no European football, United have the luxury of rest, but also the challenge of fewer competitive matches to build from. Does having no midweek European football gives United a real advantage in the league?
Yeah, definitely. It gives them a huge advantage because of the situation of where they are. They need time with the new players they have. They need the fresh leg advantage, and they will get that. So I believe Manchester United should aim for the top 4 finish. That should be the minimum for Manchester. Yeah, for Manchester United. And having no European football is going to help that.
Yeah, no, but Paulo, we know Manchester United, to be a team that they are not always, giving those managers that time or that opportunity to take a lot of time. We've seen how many managers they've changed. We've seen David Moyes, come and go, and we've seen what's it called? Ragnick, even
Yeah.
Ragnick at a point. We've seen Van Gaal. A lot of managers have come and gone since what's it called, Sir Alex Ferguson retired. Do you think Amorim's new system will win over the fans quickly enough to keep the pressure off?
Well, for him to win over the fans, he needs to start winning. If you look at last season, there were some Manchester United fans they were complaining, about his tactics is not working. And truth to be told, I don't think that tactics actually worked last season. It didn't work at all, because if it had worked, they won't end where they, end last season. But the fans just needs to be patient and give him time. You hear what their former player now on loan at Barcelona, Marcus Rashford, said recently. He said they've been, the project. Let me just summarize it. It's saying the project will not grow when you continue to change managers every time like that. So they need to stick with Amorim. Now they've backed the manager. They've given him, the signing. It might not work instantly, but I think they should just allow him, 1, 2, 3 seasons. Then, if it doesn't work, then they can, sack him instead of after 6 months, 1 year, changing managers here and there. It might be working for other teams, but for Manchester United, it's not working.
Okay, yeah, so that is about EPL. But lastly, let's talk about the Chan Eagles. Mathematically, they're out of the Chan Nations Cup.
They're
That's
already
Africa
not- they're out.
Nations
It's
Cup. Yeah,
confirmed.
they're out. After losing 2 games, there've been a lot of blames on the manager. I'm talking about Eric Chelle. That yes, he actually picked a lazy squad for the Super Eagles of Nigeria. 13 players or 12 players, even rather, from Remo Stars. That is the champions of the MPFL. Do you think that was one of the biggest undoing of the Nigerian team?
I think it's a combination of both. When you have a 13 player from 25 months list from one club, when the team was the list was announced, a lot of Nigerian fans were happy. Say okay, at least 13 player, they would have been used to themselves. But on the field of play, if you watch, I was here, covering the first match. If you look at the first match, you will know that it's like these people, they've not seen each other before. The way they were passing to each other, as if they don't even train at all. But I don't think those players were lazy, but it's as a result of how poor our league is. And if you look at the Nigerian league, in the last 4, 5, 6, 7, probably 8 seasons, tell me one of the Nigerian teams that have gotten to the quarterfinal of the CAF Champions League or even the CAF Confederations Cup. It's not, and you are playing. Look at the other teams. They are also home-based team. Talking about the Sudan and the Senegalese team we played. So you could see the difference there. So it means that we need to do more with our league and our players. The blame also should go to the manager, because if you look at the match, there was no pattern, nothing. They were playing as if they were forced to come and play. Just went out there to embarrass Nigeria like that. It's very, very, very shameful.
Okay. We have the World Cup qualifiers coming right around of September. Do you think Eric Chelle has what it takes, to push Nigeria out of that? It's less than 50%. Believe right now. Do you think he can push that to get Nigeria the World Cup tickets?
It's going to be a big ask, for him to push. I still feel like this not the right person to manage. Especially that last match was an embarrassment, losing 4-0 to Sudan. The kind of
a team their league, they're at war in
But
Sudan.
they have a better
but
team
there's
than us. There's Al Ahly Tripoli. They have Al Ittihad. There's
But the
Al
country is at
Marrakesh.
war. The country is at war.
Okay, yeah, there's not always time to talk much about when it comes to the Nigeria Nigerian Premier Football League. We just hope it's going to come better. Just wish you enjoy it the same way we enjoy talking about the European leagues. But it's always a pleasure having you guys in the studio.
Yeah, it's a pleasure to be on the show.
Okay, that's a wrap on our Premier League 2025-2026 season preview, from Chelsea's defensive headache to Crystal Palace rise, from Arsenal title on to United rebuild. The stage is set for dramas, goals, and plenty of surprises. Big thanks to Paulo and also Jimmy for their insight, and to you, our listeners, for joining the debate. Remember, the conversation doesn't stop here. Drop your prediction, your hot takes, and your bold calls in the comment section. In the comments below, sorry. Until next time, keep it logged on TalkSport and where football lives and breathes. See you after match day 1.
Oh, and another goal for Super Eagles.
This is Premier Sports Center. Believe it anywhere, take it anywhere. Don't forget to subscribe. Remember to click that subscription button.